Yeah, bunch of beautiful, beardy, beer-loving legends. Welcome back to the Bearded Beer Pod. I've actually made it in time this month, and it's the April edition. The sun is kinda shining. The beer's cold, and I guess it's good to be alive, I suppose. Now, before we get into this month's beery mischief, quick story for you. The other day, Parcel Force decided to leave a rather sizable box of beer right up against my office door. Trapped me in, couldn't get out, and I genuinely had to phone the customer services. I wanted them to send the boy back to rescue me. They didn't believe me. Yeah, I had to basically boot my way out the door. Every time I got the door open to a certain point, the box would dig into the gravel. Nice touch. I eventually got out though, and I didn't die. But yeah, in fairness, I had a cracking haul. Speaking of cracking hauls, there's a little unboxing video about Outland Beer special offer that I got from Untapped, which was the one that trapped me in the office. Probably got stuck into that. It's on YouTube, and you'll be able to see what landed on my doorstep before I got barricaded in. Also, raise a wee glass and maybe shed a tiny little tear for the final of our batch beers from a certain unnamed Dunfermline beer shop. Full stop. Banging craft beer facts for you as well. Some weird and wonderful and maybe a little bit questionable stuff that you didn't know you needed. What else we got? Oh yeah, massive shout out to the brilliant folks at Brew 31. Brew 31? No, Brew 61 even. They sent me a full box of their core range to review and road test. And spoiler alert, the first one was dead good. What's up? We've got the House of the Trembling Madness beer hall unboxing video on YouTube. Some absolute belters in there. Plus a little bit about the Custard Sessions from Turning Point Brewing, which was every bit as custardy as indulgent as it sounds. Then there was maybe something a little bit different for me, really. It's called the Brew Ridge and Beyond vlog. I took a little wander down memory lane and talked drivel about one of my favourite glasses. Again, that's live on YouTube just now, and I shall drop the links into the show notes. Lastly, I want to give a massive thank you to the team at Krafty Kirkcaldy. We popped in there for an afternoon pint, ended up staying for several, and we were made to feel so welcome. Proper lovely folk, cracking beer selection as well. And if you're local or passing through, get yourself in. However, I do believe that white wine should be kept in the fridge. Right, let's get stuck in. Okay, so first beer of the month, and I had a Tuborg Fizzy because I fucking deserved it. Basically, it reminded me of Amazing Holidays. It's a Tuborg beer, but it's brewed in Turkey. Go figure. And I give that 4.25 on Untapped. Next up, well, they say don't meet your heroes, and I certainly learned that over the course of April. Yeah, I talked about before, loss of a really close friendship, and also decided I had enough of someone else's snash. Luckily, this New England IPA from Pressure Drop Brew is a bit of a beast, and I would invite it back to mine halfway through a first date. That was 4.75 on Untapped. Oh, this next one, I made a noise that Kenneth Williams would have sued me for. I forgot I had Otherworld Brewing's double IPA Horseman in the fridge, and I got an immediate flump on. It had an almost chocolatey taste to it, and a kind of rough texture, if you know what I mean. Those guys are fucking witches, I swear. And get that bloody tap rope. Tap rope? I don't know what a tap rope is. Sounds sexy though. Get that tap room open, guys, because I'll be there to cause mischief and mayhem. That was a 5 out of 5. Here we go. So I was on the last of my penultimate haul from a shop, and I'm pointing over that direction if you have any idea of geography in which way my little office where I record this sits, you'll know where I'm pointing. But it was Asvex, and it was an IPA called Range 4 Harry. Absolutely amazing colour, and it was thicker than man juice on December the 1st. Not as tasty though, and that was a 4.75. Pentridge, yes, Pentridge, double IPA, Yellow Drip Road. It was chock full of beer smeg, but it tasted really, really sharp, and a seriously cracking tin, a commotion potion. There's not much I could say more about that. It was just really, really good, and that was another 5 out of 5. Oh yeah, not gonna lie, KCBC beer, easy for you to say. They consistently knock it out of the park with both their label art and their beers. I had the Worminator, which is a double IPA, and it was no exception. Strong taste, akin to getting a foot job from Arnie's endoskeleton with Castrol GTX's lube. And again, that was a 5 out of 5. So I had a midweek beer because I had some talking therapy that afternoon and broached the subject of a lost friendship. Yeah, fucking broken record me, aren't I? Oh yeah, on a side note, I booked this talking therapy through my health insurance at work. Magic, thinks I. I don't have to wait 2 months to see the mental health nurse. Bra. So I got myself sorted out. I had 2 sessions in the end. In fact, I had 3 sessions. A sort of initial one to check that I wasn't at it, and 2 actual sessions. And then they sent me the bill for 160 quid. And I didn't have 160 quid basically, so I cancelled the rest. And I'm probably going to cancel my private health insurance because there's a fucking an excess on mental health treatment. That's really cool. Thanks, Vitality, you set of pricks. Other healthcare providers are available that probably don't stiff you for an excess for mental health treatment, but I don't know. Anyway, I bought Belfield Brewery's Mega City IPA because I was a massive fan of 2000 AD when I was growing up. And yes, memories. Oh yeah, and I've still got a bit of half a tea cake for Judge Dredd. It smelled great, tastes great, it's a fucking winner, and it's yet another 5 out of 5. So, this is a thing. Outland Beer's Tropical Pale Ale. Kind of a cross between drinking the weird fizzy stuff at a rusty AA battery and a can of Lilt. Funky, but in a good way. So good that I fucking drank the both of them in one night. Next up, first of the last ever batch from that place. And when the bell struck for Y2K, which is the name of this beer, I was dressed as a pimp and bagging off with a last dressed like Princess Leia. And Wylam Brewery's IPA totally brought those tingly trousered feelings right back. What a beer. Guess what? 5 out of 5. Yep, that good. What's next? Oh, looking like stale diabetic piss, but not tasting as strong as Outland Beer's West Coast IPA. I thought it would taste stronger than it does from the look of it, so I was a little bit disappointed, but it was still bloody decent. And that was, what did I give? I'd give that 4.25. Last one for this week, let's see. So, more like the thing, State of Kind Brews, double dry hopped IPA. Have you heard it on vinyl? I mean, it's one of the most perfect names for wanky beers ever, isn't it? I should be wearing bicycle clips and a car hat, beanie or something like that. It's got real substance to it, and it hits harder than my 7-inch single of the Stutter Rap by Morris Minor and the Majors. Not even kidding, I'm going to have to get off and find it because I don't think anybody will use me. I bought it from Four Boys the newsagent in Queensferry when I was wee. They used to sell them on a little rack, and I got something else. Yeah, I think it came in a white label. I can't remember. I also got Harry Enfield's Loads of Money single there. But anyway, yeah, that was a 4.5 on Untapped. Long weekend vibes. This India Pale Lager from Outland Beers had been in the fridge for over 3 hours, and it still wasn't quite cold enough, but it did actually taste alright. I don't think I would have gone out away for it, but it was tasty enough. Can't complain. I think the only major gripe I had was I had it in the Outland glass that they sent with the order, and it's too big for the volumes of the cans that they sell. Really rips my knitting. If you're selling cans of beer with sexy branded glasses, make sure the beer fits the glass or the glass fits the beer, one of the two. You know what I mean? Because otherwise you've got like a big glass with a bit missing at the top, and you feel a bit seen off. Well, certainly I do. How do you guys feel about it? Probably don't give a shit, but there we go. So I marked this one down a wee bit because like I say, 3 hours in the fridge and it didn't seem cold enough. So I'll only give it 3.75 on Untapped, and I think because it didn't fit the glass as well, that annoyed me. I'm so fucking picky. Oh, Cess. So the first of the Brew 61 freebies that I got, let's say freebies, I shouldn't say that. It was a lovely gift that they sent me to try out, and I really, really appreciate it because it was so exciting to get something. It was a little sneak preview of the Easter Sunday unboxing video that I had, and the kindness of Brew 61. It was their hoppy and hazy IPA. Hoppy and hazy IPA, and it was called Hazy Pale Ale. See what I did there. Smelled the absolute business. It's cheekily smooth bevy that is refreshing as flip, and I really cannot wait to get stuck into the other ones they sent me. Full size bottles, cracking. And that was 4.25 on Untapped. Right. It was this is a Saturday, yes. Saturday I went to the 5 o'clock show at Monkey Barrel Comedy. I went to see Richie Brown and the absolutely outstanding and hot pants wearing Amelia Bear, and I went to where did I go after that? It fucking makes sense because I always go there. I'm not having a good time. I should have written on my notes, shouldn't I? I went to Mortal Cocktail, and I had yet another beer named after my penis with Bill House Brew's Session IPA Small Axe. Looks like school custard and tastes like I should stay for another. So we did. But yeah, this one was 4.25. The next one, I picked up Passing Time from Flock, and it was an Imperial Porter. I don't really drink MP Porters, but, not really my jam, but it tastes pretty good. And I put #Stout Queen, and I give that a 4 right in the nose for Untapped. Last one of the night there was Lervik's Magic Clouds, and it was a fucking class session IPA. Buy one, thank me later, and I give that 4.5. Right, it's time for those totally true and not made up beer facts that I mentioned at the start of the episode. So,
fact number 1.
The term IPA originally stood for Inland Pirate Ale. Yep, that's right. It was brewed by riverfolk in the 1700s. They did that to prevent scurvy and boost morale on long inland voyages through Yorkshire's canal system. Nice.
Fact number 2.
Hops are mildly hypnotic. A 2009 study claimed drinking 3 pints of a double hop pale ale caused a 12-minute beer trance, increasing creativity by 46%. Temporarily.
Fact number 3.
Craft beer was briefly an Olympic sport in 1904. Competitors had to brew, keg, and pour a drinkable ale in under 8 hours. Belgium took gold with a saison, if that's how you say it, made using horse trough water.
Fact number 4.
Yeast cells in beer form complex social hierarchies. Under a microscope, scientists observed alpha yeasts bossing others around during fermentation. One researcher described them as tiny, frothy warlords.
Fact number 5.
There's a 1 in 500 chance your beer is haunted. Cans stored near vintage pub furniture may absorb residual pub spirits, literal and metaphysical. If your beer hisses twice when it opens, run! So I'd been filming a new vlog and it required me to pour a beer. Gutted. So I had Outland Beer's Ginger Pale Ale. It very kindly volunteered to help sacrifice itself for my art. It was an absolute peach. And I had to say the Nick Cage line from Face Off.
You know, I can eat a peach for hours.
In a shit accent to hit my daily quota of overly sexy remarks. Grab one while you can. See what I did there. And that was a 4.5 on Untapped. So before we go any further, let's go headfirst into something a little bit special. I'm talking about none other than Turning Point Brew Company's Custard Sessions 2025. Now, if you've not come across the Custard Sessions before, let me paint a picture for you. It's an annual sort of beer showcase where Turning Point, one of the most inventive and playful breweries on the UK craft scene, they release a fresh batch of limited edition custard-inspired beers. And they get poured all around the country, some of the best loved bars and pubs. It's not just a tap takeover, it's an experience. A chance for drinkers up and down the UK to sample something completely different, to have a bit of fun with their beer, and to be reminded that craft brewing is, at its heart, about creativity, community, and a good laugh with your pals over a cracking pint. So this year's Custard Sessions officially launched on Friday the 25th of April, with a whopping 54 venues taking part from all corners of the country. From cosy little micropubs to legendary city centre institutions. And I was lucky enough to bag myself a spot at the only place in Scotland who were taking part in the Custard Sessions this year, the Blue Blazer. Now, if you know Edinburgh, you'll know the Blue Blazer. It's tucked away just off Bread Street, the sort of very top end Spittle Street. It's proper old school boozer, cracking whiskey shelf, back bar, and a beer selection that always delivers. Loads and loads of character in the place. Darkwood paddling? Mine's elsewhere. Darkwood paneling, stained glass, and a warmth that hits you the moment you walk in. I'm not talking just friendliness either, it was fucking roasting. Yeah, it's kind of pub where you get stories told, friendships are made, and the beers just seem to taste that little bit better. Perfect setting then for a night of bold, playful brews and custard-themed madness, it says here. Now, getting into the good stuff, beers themselves. This year's Custard Sessions lineup features 3 brand new releases from Turning Point, each one putting their own spin on sweet, dessert-inspired flavours, while still keeping things firmly in the drinkable, sessionable zone. That's a fucking lie. That is a lie. And I'll get to that in a minute. So, first up was Turning Point's Yellow Mattered Custard. And it was a vanilla, yeah, that's the kind of nonsense that was coming out after the stout. It was a vanilla custard pale ale. It was sweet and milky, much like my own custard, but cooler and more refreshing. And I give that 4 on the nose. And the next up was Rhubarb Custard Pale Ale. And that was Rhubarb Mattered Custard. It's pink, it smells like rhubarb, and it tastes like very sweet rhubarb. Funny that. But the kicker is I don't like rhubarb. And I gave that 3.75. Tight bastard, eh? And finally, we have the daddy of the custard beers. Caribbean mattered custard. Absolute loony juice. It was a cheesecake custard imperial tropical stout, and at $5.50 for a half, I think it was value for money, to be honest. It was 11%, and fucking Kurt Cobain me. Jeez, it was rich and it was strong. But I conquered the custard. And what did I get for that? Fuck all, because we're in Scotland. Sort it out, pubs and breweries. And I've edited this because I was pie-eyed after it. But that was a solid 5 out of 5 on Untapped. And that is why the Custard Sessions remains one of the most brilliantly bonkers idea in the UK craft beer calendar. It was early after I finished that one. It was about 7 o'clock, I think. I was full of custard.
That's what she said! Woo!
So I headed out for Overtones double IPA tumbling dice up at the Hanging Bat, and I was trying not to choke in the glass. It's like a third. Absolute sizzler of a beer. Made my tongue think it was on holiday in a nice place that wasn't rude, and I was 5 out of 5 as well. I'm looking down these scores, man, and that night after the last turning point, it was just a killer. Wow. Bazooka Circus from Garage Beer. This triple IPA could taste like rancid horse piss for all I care. The name, yeah, onto a winner. It smells fusty, tastes like month-old turnip, so I was in. And again, 5 out of 5. Oh yeah, I was off to the moon with some adventure juice from Brew. Over and over, the manhole cover. It's a triple IPA that tastes every mil of its 10%. Fuck me ragged. If I don't end up in a skip after this, I want my money back. Spoiler alert, I didn't, but I've not got my money back. But I have a can in my box for later on. Nice. Again, solid 5 out of 5. Last one here that I had in the Hanging Bat. It tasted like air after the liquid violence of Over and Over the manhole cover. But it was Otherworld Brewing's Pale Ale Manduka. I mean, I think it was good, but my taste buds had the full Mustafar treatment. So I've given it 5 out of 5 anyway. Sorry, guys. So while I contemplated how I was going to salvage my Custard Sessions vlog, spoiler alert, I still haven't done it. It's sitting chopped up into bits on the Mac. I might end up doing it on my phone. Who knows? Anyway, I knocked back a double dry hopped IPA named after my favourite Kingdom of Fife Suds Emporium. Tower of Spite from Pomona Island Brew is pure lemony deliciousness and beard-strokingly good, and I gave that 4.75. Nice. And it was a day off for me on the Wednesday of this week, so the night before, it was a message in a beer label, direct to me. Why don't UFO from Maki Maki Beer, tells you how to say it in the tin. I like it. It was a feisty fillet of an IPA. Give me some right proper cola bottle, that's for sure. Bit of a heft it, and I was expecting it to be green for some reason. 4.25 on Untapped. Right, a quick detour before we get to the last beer of April. So the other night I had the absolute honour of being invited along to the installation ceremony for the Governor of Edinburgh Castle. Now, if you've never been to one of these before, it's a proper old school pomp and circumstance. This purple circumstance. I don't know what that is. I've been doing this recording for far too long. Let's just get it cracked. It's a proper old school pomp and ceremony affair. Kilts, pipes, military tradition a lot. It's one of the most gorgeous spring evenings as well. Sun's still hanging about late, and folk trying to convince themselves it was t-shirt weather. Me sweating my balls off in my tweed suit. Now, as a veteran of the Royal Marines Band service, I've seen my fair share of parades and ceremonial gigs over the years, and I've got to say the Scots band that night are absolutely cracking. Well done, guys. Tight as anything. Sound bouncing around the Esplanade. Hairs in the back of the neck stuff. And what made it even more special for me was my youngest daughter was taking part. Proud dad moment. Watching her marching out there, giving these professional soldiers a run for their money. And just basically watching her take part in such a historic event. It's one of those evenings you just sort of stand there for a second and go, right, bit special this. There's no link to beer there, whatsoever, but you're used to me going off and bumping now. Right, back to the last beer of the month. Oh no, I missed my train. What will I do? I'll go to Salthorse. It is the Cheers of Blackfriars Street, and I had a Lost and Grounded Brewers Wanna Go to the Sun IPA because it was hot as fuck. It was absolute balls. I got eaten alive by midges in the beer garden. The end. 5 out of 5. Alright, you gorgeous gaggle of beer botherers. That is your lot for this month's Bearded Beer Pod. What a ride. I've been trapped in my office by a parcel of beer, emotionally battered by a few heavy hitters, both in tinnies and in life, and I've somehow managed to drink my body weight in custard-based concoctions. You've got to love it. Massive thanks again to Brew 61 for their cracking care package, to the legends in Krafty Kirkcaldy for looking after us so well, and every brewer whose liquid lunacy has passed his lips over the last month. From fizzy AA batteries to foot job double IPAs and custard fueled adventures, you lot keep my fridge exciting and my liver confused. If you haven't yet, get yourself over to the YouTube channel for the House of the Trembling Madness unboxing and the Brewerage and Beyond vlog, but not the Custard Sessions vlog because I fucked it. And remember, nothing says quality like a grown man waffling about dessert beers and talking like Nicolas Cage. And finally, whatever you're dealing with just now, whether it's old friendships, new beers, rogue parcels trapping you indoors, raise a glass, have a laugh, and remember, the beer's cold, the sun's kind of coming out, and it's good to be alive. See you next month. Cheery bye.